Welcome to our episode of Bargain Saturdays, and this week I decided to take a look at Barbie and Rockin' Royals. And I have to admit, this is definitely one of the better Barbie movies I've seen, in the last 2 weeks. And man, most of the rest have been just pretty bad. Though, admittedly, one of them, falls in the category I just cannot get into it because of what it's about, so I can't really fairly judge it. But this one, I'd say it's decent. It's not great. It's highly predictable. It starts off with it's being introduced to our two main characters, Princess Courtney, aka Barbie. She's on her way to Camp Royal, and Erica Juno, a soloist, that's pretty big on the rock scene at the moment, and she wants to go to a camp pop, but apparently, the two camps use the same system and are stationed around the same lake, so their stuff gets switched around on accident. So Erica Juno ends up, in Camp Royal with all the princesses that have their magic scepters and unicorns, and Princess Courtney ends up, in the school for rock and roll, or whatever floats your boat as far as music goes.
Whether you're into pop, punk, metal, or country, you'll learn how to shred a guitar solo, swagger like Jagger, and dress like a diva, darlings.
So yeah, basically we get two fish out of water scenarios with a lot of standard development for the most part as they start to fit in and realize they have to change a bit to fit in with the other camp. Though admittedly, Princess Courtney doesn't have to change as much to fit in. Erica Juno ends up having to realize the acapella group isn't all about her. This isn't a solo effort; it's a group effort. And eventually realizes, there's an importance to harmony and singing together. And eventually, at the end of the movie, forms the band, the Rock and Royals, with some of the princesses, because they're like, we can come together, and be a group. Because I'm tired of the solo thing now. That I've been part of a real band. I mean, obviously some of the camp pop kids are in there, but like when half your band's like Rock and Royals, it's hard to get away from the whole royalty angle, right? As for the plot of the movie, besides the fish out of the water stuff we get, we also learn the two camp leaders are former lovers that are really jilted and don't like each other anymore, which is mostly the caused by the leader of Camp Royal, the female part of that partnership, because she decided to just up and leave her boyfriend at the time for no apparent reason. She didn't say anything. She just left, apparently. And we get her reasoning later, and it still sounds really stupid. She's like, well, I realized you're going to be successful, and then you wouldn't have time for me. As a small time band, just locally, I could be with you. But if you're going to be this big success, there's going to be all the sex and drugs, and I just don't fit in there, Like, I'm a royal. So she just left him without saying a word about it. Like, they didn't even try and talk it out, or anything. She's just like, I'm just gone. I'm making this decision for us because it's better than, if I stay and try and work things out, or try and preempt things, just gone. Of course, the leader of Camp Pop has always kept, a photo of one of their dates, when they're dating back then. He's like, I always had time for you. So, yeah, they eventually hook up at the end of the film, after spending a good chunk of it, complaining about each other and trying to cheat or whatever at, a sing-off competition to decide who gets to stay and who has to leave the lake. The lake just isn't big enough for the two of them. They can't have two camps. Of course, at the end of the movie, after they get back together, like, we'll just fuse the camps together. It'll be just one giant camp. Problem solved. Though I still have to question, why they had to include magic wands in this story, or magic scepters, I guess. Because it seems like magic isn't well known in this story. Like unicorns themselves, Erica June is like, you have unicorns. Like she's making fun of them for thinking unicorns are real, and then she has to go see them for herself to realize, oh, they actually do have unicorns. Which begs the question, like, if Royal's just been hiding the secret existence of unicorns for generations in this universe, or were they more common and went extinct at some point? Do other mythical creatures like dragons exist? Who else can wield magic besides these princesses with their magic scepters? Is there a class of witches and wizards or sorcerers, just floating around in the background somewhere. Considering, Juno acts like magic is something that doesn't really exist. At least it feels that way. It just feels, like the world wasn't fully thought out when it came to the whole magic stuff. Just like, how do you expect, regular people, from Camp Pop to keep quiet about, princesses having access to magic powers if the camps merge and they can see them use it on a regular basis? And who's making these magic scepters anyway if all the princesses have them? Because I assume that means all queens would have them too. And does that mean kings don't have access to magic? Or they have, their own royal scepters that have magic powers? Does that mean princes also have them? It begs questions that just don't need to be asked. Like, there were ways to get around the whole wardrobe change without having to include magic into the story. Because it just begs all kinds of questions. But, yeah, I thought the execution of the basic plot was alright, but there are plot elements that feel like the movie may have been better without them, and it sometimes suffers from, uneven quality in terms of the songs, in my opinion. Admittedly, some of them are meant to be kind of bad, to showcase the need for some pizzazz and stuff, for the song for the end of the movie when the two groups come together because they don't want either camp to be closed. But yeah, at least it has it has a solid ending song. Probably one of the best songs in the movie, actually, which is fitting considering it's the big finale, right? But yeah, there's definitely things about this movie that make me ask questions that distract from the plot. Till next time, then. See ya.
The winning camp shall be awarded all of the property surrounding the lake. The losing camp shall close its doors for good.
How can we pick a winner if both camps competed together?